Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Challenge Sessions. This is where Zach and I talk through some common challenges that we see B2B and sales-driven organizations facing in their go-to-market sales and growth efforts. Today, we're going to talk about how and why good content, especially video content and an active social presence, drives more leads. How and why does content and an active social presence drive more leads for sales-driven organizations? And I'm going to start out by saying, one of the most common things we see is that really great video content, when shared actively on social, is a great way to drive inbound leads, right? It is getting in front of your customers exactly where they're spending their time during the workday so that you're top of mind with them. A lot of B2B and sales-driven orgs are selling into this dynamic of, look, some 1, 2, 3% of prospects are actually in kind of a decision mode, a buying mode. And the key to capturing those prospects is being in their mind so that when they reach that moment of having that need, they think of you, they reach out to you. And not just when they have that need, but when they hear of one of their colleagues or friends who's got that need, who are they going to refer that person to? Well, they're going to refer that person to whoever's top of mind with them. So when we see customers like Optimal, whose case study just went up on our website, increasing leads 71% in a quarter, incredible results like that. That's part of why that's happening. But Zach, the question I want you to dive into is, what are the other kind of less commonly recognized ways that great content, especially video content and an active social presence, can drive more leads for sales-driven orgs?
100%. So obviously you discussed inbound leads and the effectiveness that video content and an active social presence can have there. But an often overlooked benefit of video content and an active social presence is its effects on sales enablement and the different ways it can improve outbound sales' ability to drive more leads. To back up just a quick second, one of the reasons this is true is we're seeing changes in the ways buyers buy, especially in B2B sales and high-ticket offers. And what we're seeing is that not only are buyer journeys expanding, but the percentage of that buyer journey that happens before anyone speaks to a salesperson is increasing more and more and more, all the way up to 90% via some research projects out there now. And what that means is that customers are going to your website where your content is hosted, and they're going to your social profiles where your content is distributed to build trust with the organization. And it's on those assets that they are deciding whether or not to speak to a salesperson to begin with. So when companies have a really, really consistent content engine and an active social presence, they see boosts all throughout the sales funnel. They see increases in brand awareness. They see increases in brand credibility and authority. They see increases in conversion rates to responses on outbound messages, increases in lead opportunity rates, and increases in close rates. And you just see this rising tide across the entire outbound sales growth funnel that drives more leads in concert with the inbound leads the content is driving. So one of the things people see is just a huge boost in all of the different areas of their outbound sales growth funnel.
Yeah, I did this literally like 15 minutes ago. I got a cold email from that sounded pretty good, and I copy pasted the person's name out of their email signature, name, company name, whatever, into Google. It linked me to their LinkedIn, and there's just no credibility there, right? There's like the company that they're working for isn't the company, or like I can't even remember what it was, but you've got to have that authority, you've got to have those assets. And if you want a sales-driven effort like prospecting to actually work. And I think one of the ways you and I have been talking about this is kind of these three key pillars, if you want to call them that, of B2B go-to-market of a sales-driven org. You've got to have authority, you've got to have great assets, and you've got to have really good targeted, what we call case-based prospecting. And if you go to prospecting first, which is what so many executives want to do, how can we get more emails out? How can we get more, how can we get a bigger list, whatever. If you do that before you have great assets, and certainly before you build kind of like a presence and some authority in the industry, you're not going to know what the problem is. Is it the messaging? Is it the targeting? Or do you have that right and it's just not working because your assets aren't good enough, or people are going and they're not seeing any authority or presence in the industry. So I think it's kind of the order of operations. You've got to build authority first, which look, seems like this, complicated thing, but that's what we help customers with Growth Match, and it's really not that complex. You've just got to have good, authentic content, and it's got to be shared, consistently on social. This is like table stakes, and if you do this and establish this kind of authority, and then if you get your assets like your website, your sales deck, your one pager to an adequate level, then yeah, like you said, it's this rising tide where all of your efforts, if you're testing, marketing, like if you're testing paid, that's going to be more effective. If you're just doing prospecting, that's going to be more effective. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that rising tide notion.